Yes, welcome everyone. Cannabis News, I'm your host Joe Klare. It's May 1st, 2019. Welcome to everyone watching, whether it's on YouTube, Vimeo, listening on Apple Podcasts, listening at marijuanatimes.org. It doesn't matter. As long as you're here, that's awesome. Make sure you check out marijuanatimes.org. A bunch of great articles there by a bunch of great writers and more. Today, we're talking about marijuana and religion. We're also talking about marijuana and exercise. And we're talking about the story of an Army veteran who's losing his pension because of medical marijuana. Really, I don't know. I haven't started talking about it yet, and I'm already in frustrated mode. It's usually the way I spend most of this show, is frustrated mode. Before I get to all that, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you grow safe and poison-free, and you're not using banned pesticides in the state that you are growing in. Don't use harmful chemicals on things that people are going to be ingesting. That's horrible. Grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside. First story from marijuanatimes.org by yours truly. Marijuana and religion. Now, as I point out in the article, it's a pretty simple title. It may make people think that it's going to be this long, in-depth discussion of marijuana and religion, but it's not. It's mainly about, there's been tons of religious freedom arguments when it comes to use of marijuana, especially when it comes to the Rastafarian church. Another issue is going on in Wisconsin of some Rastafarian men who are being charged because of their marijuana use and sharing marijuana with parishioners of their church. And basically, as I point out, the main thread of the article is that marijuana is not complicated and religion is not complicated. If someone's using marijuana and if someone is practicing their religion and they're not infringing the rights of anyone else, it's none of your business. That's it. Very, very simple. Obviously, I stretched that into a long article because that's one sentence, and that would be a horrible article. And then you also add some context and things of that nature. But if you want to boil it down, that's it. These aren't complicated issues. These aren't complicated issues that law enforcement and state lawmakers, everybody needs to get involved in. Marijuana, if someone's using marijuana and not infringing on anyone's rights, not your business. Religion, if someone is practicing their religion and they're not infringing on the rights of anyone else, it's not your business. Politicians, lawmakers, bureaucrats, sheriffs, cops, detectives, other law enforcement personnel, they would all love you to think that this is very, very important, that they need to crack down on this. A couple of Rastafarian guys giving out weed in Wisconsin because that's such a dangerous thing. It's so horrible to relax and be positive and use marijuana and not harm anyone. What a horrible way to live. Lock them up. Get these awful people that are giving out weed off the streets. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Waste of time, waste of resources, waste of the time of the people that are being charged, the destruction of their life possibly. Absolutely. All of these things come from authorities putting their nose where it doesn't belong. It's not your business. That's it. This next story. That's very abrupt. Cut off. Let me segue like a professional into the next article from thedenverchannel.com. 8 in 10 marijuana users combine pot and exercise. A CU study finds. A large majority of marijuana users say they use the drug before or after exercising, and those who partake get more exercise than those who don't, according to new research from the University of Colorado. Researchers at CU Boulder surveyed 600 adult marijuana users in 5 states where the drug has been legalized for recreational use, those being California, Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington, and asked them if they have used the drug within an hour before exercising or 4 hours afterwards. 82% of respondents said they had. A follow-up question found they were more likely to partake after exercise, but 67% said they used the drug both before and after exercising. As the article points out, this kind of knocks down a stereotype that marijuana users and cannabis users are just stoners who are sitting on the couch. They're not motivated. They're not getting out and doing anything. Of course, those of us in the cannabis community who are out here doing things, we know that's not true because we're out here doing things. We see other people out here doing things. We know the cannabis community. A bunch of us are out here doing stuff. I'm not even on a couch. It's crazy. I am in a chair, though. So I'll meet you halfway. But I am being productive in my chair most of the time. I used to be one of those people that would not want to do anything, for lack of a better phrase. But now in the last 10 or 12 years, I've completely become the opposite of that. I've done a 180. I'm one of those people that has to be doing something all the time. All the time. If I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I have to go to the bathroom or whatever, I'm on Twitter tweeting stuff out. If I see an article, I save it for later so I can read it tomorrow. I'm always doing something. It's crazy. I don't really exercise, but maybe I should. If I did, well, I would be like most cannabis users and use before or after exercising, which, stereotypes they don't really bother me, but if you use it as an excuse to criminalize people, to say that all marijuana is dangerous because it destroys the motivation of people, well, then we have a problem, and I have to point out where you were wrong, like that story right there. This last story from Barron's.com. So let me get this graphic off. See, look at all the things I'm doing. I'm multitasking. He was a decorated Army veteran. He took a marijuana job. Now he can't get his pension. It's one of the rare 3-sentence article headlines that you'll see. It's not a tactic that's used by many editors, but hey, Barron's is a very, upscale establishment publication, and they can do 3 sentences in their headline. Seems like a bit much, but, whatever. I don't run Barron's. If you want to see the legal logjam facing the high-flying cannabis industry, meet 36-year-old retired U.S. Army Major Ty Reedy. He went to West Point just before September 11, 2001, of course, 9/11, and ended up on active duty for 11 years. He served 2 year-long combat tours in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan, so 3 years in a heavy combat environment. He led units in the so-called surge campaigns in both wars and was awarded 4 Bronze Stars. And he's just been stripped of his U.S. Army pension. After retiring from active duty, the father of 2 went to work for a cannabis company. He's the Director of Operations Services at Acreage Holdings, which we've talked about on this show. That is made a big deal or recently struck a deal with industry leader Canopy Growth. Also, their board of advisors includes John Boehner and William Weld. He says, we are a medically focused company. We don't operate illegally in any way, and we're a publicly traded company. But none of that mattered to Judge Advocate General's office at West Point. By working for Acreage, Reedy brings discredit, quote, brings discredit upon the U.S. Military Academy and the Army. A military officer working in the cannabis industry runs contrary to Army values. Really? There's a lot of stuff I can say right here about the reputation of the U.S. Army around the world. Whether it's torture in Iraq, bombing civilians, all of those things. But be that as it may, here's the thing, and I've pointed this before, but I'll continue to point it out. We send these men and women overseas to hostile environments for, in my opinion, no reason, but maybe you have an opinion that there is a reason. Whatever. They're there. They're in these hostile environments. Not only are they facing an armed enemy, an armed military enemy, or an insurgent, or a rebel, or a terrorist enemy, most of the people there, most of the civilians don't want them there either. They've brought destruction to their country, so they're not well liked by anybody. They're in constant danger. Their adrenaline's constantly pumping. They witness events, and they're part of events, and they see things that most human beings can't handle. One of the reasons that most of them end up with PTSD and why the suicide rates for veterans are so high. After all that, they come back here, and you would think, hey, man, we're going to take care of you now. You did a good thing. You served your country. You're back here now. The nightmare is over. No, don't pick up a joint. Don't work for a cannabis company. This guy wasn't even caught using medical marijuana. He works for a company, a publicly traded company, and it's still not enough. He brings discredit on the Army. Really? Really? I'm sorry. Is the U.S. Army reputation that great? Is it really? It is here. But ask people in Iraq and Afghanistan what they think about the U.S. Army. You're not going to like the answer. I'm sorry. If that offends you, too bad. You're not going to like the answer. We're not bringing freedom. We're bringing destruction and death. That's what war is. War doesn't bring balloons and democracy. It brings destruction and death. After all that, after we send all these people over to do that, they come back and we say, oh, screw you, dude. You work for a cannabis company. We're going to strip you of your pension, and we're going to not only are we going to strip you of your pension, we're going to mock you and talk about how much you discredit the wonderful U.S. Army. Listen, you serve in the military. That's great. That's great. You've served your country. You've done what you needed to do. All of that. You deserve better treatment when you come home. But to act like someone who works for a marijuana company is somehow discrediting the institution of the U.S. Army, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. If you ask people of Iraq and Afghanistan who they would rather come to their country, the U.S. Army or Acreage Holdings, they'll say, what's Acreage Holdings? They say it's a marijuana company. They'll say, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. They have bombs and guns? No. They have jobs and weed. Oh, well. Which one discredits the other one? It's nuts. And then we go on and on about how great, how much we revere our veterans. And then when they work for a marijuana company or try to get some medical marijuana for their PTSD, you're not so revered then, are you? You kind of see what's really thought of you by the U.S. government. They're sending you over there to destroy these people, and then when you come back, they're not going to take care of you. They don't care. The U.S. government doesn't care about veterans. They don't care about them before they go to war. They don't care about them when they're at war, unless they're not killing enough people, and then maybe we'll get a little bit of a surge going. And they don't care about them when they come home. They don't care. You're on your own. You can wait in long lines at the VA, or whatever. Don't talk about medical marijuana while you're there. Don't get a job with a medical marijuana company. Don't use medical marijuana for the very ailments that you got serving your country. Don't do any of that. No. I'm sorry, if you're a veteran, you're not revered. You may be revered by the people of this country, your friends, your family, that's great. But the U.S. government doesn't revere you. They don't care. They just don't care. And that can be said of most things. They don't have incentive to care. Who loses their job if veterans aren't taken care of? Who gets punished if veterans aren't taken care of? I don't know. If you know, please leave a comment under the video. I don't know. Who gets punished when the job's not done? When stuff like this happens? Who gets punished? Who gets fired? Who loses their pension? I'm going to go out on a limb and say the answer is nobody. But maybe it's somebody. I don't know. I don't know everything. If it is someone, like I said, let me know in the comments. Tell me who gets in trouble when things like this break down. In any case, thanks everybody for watching. It's a new month here at the Marijuana Times. It is May. Check out marijuanatimes.org. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for watching and liking and commenting on the videos, whether it's YouTube or Vimeo. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, as I said, for the audio version. Thank you for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.